Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edward Deere speaking, and you will notice that I'm with one of my wonderful friends. She's a doctor, she's powerful, she loves healthy people, and she's on the beautiful Gold Coast in Australia in Queensland. Dr. Liz, how you doing today?
Hi, Ed. I'm fantastic. Thank you. So lovely to see your beautiful smiley face.
Now, Dr. Liz, I just want to ask you, I've never asked you this, what are you a doctor in? I know it's
Yeah,
health related.
it is a good question. It is a good question. So I have a PhD in nutrition and dietetics. So I am a doctor specifically in nutrition and dietetics. And I love research and science and health. And combined with that, I'm a bit of a foodie. So I've had an interesting journey. I actually started off doing pharmacy and got to the stage of actually, practicing, and then realized I actually wasn't a very good pharmacist because I don't like handing out pills. Although, a lot of my friends are fantastic pharmacists, so I'm not against medicine where it's needed. So then I actually retrained, and it just made sense. I love science, I love food, I love, nutrition, and it's a better fit with me because I'm all about trying to prevent. Obviously, we need medication when we need it, but if I can, try and prevent it through nutrition and movement and lifestyle, then that's the way to go.
Well, I got a bit of trivia for you, Liz. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't know this. But post my military days, I actually did a Bachelor of Applied Science, double majoring in chemistry.
Hey, there you go. I had no idea. So look at you, a man of many talents, hey?
But not as talented as you. And I got to say, Dr. Liz,
Yeah.
now, before we met, you're actually quite a well-known influencer in the health space. You lecture, you teach at universities. Tell us a bit more about that.
We certainly do. So up until very recently, I was head of program and also associate dean of the Master of Nutrition and Dietetics program at Bond University. Just have to say, I'm loving you pouring the tea there. That's so appropriate. Lovely. Thank you. So I've been very fortunate to work at, some of the top universities all around Australia and teach the next generation of nutrition leaders, which has been wonderful. Yeah.
Wow. And I already noticed as well, I think it's been a while. Last time I checked your LinkedIn profile, you're 17,000 followers or something awesomely insane
It's
like
pretty
that?
good. I think we're up to about 19,000 or so now. So yeah, it's pushing along, which is really, it's exciting. And it's exciting because I'm sort of obviously transitioning from the research academic world into more the business entrepreneurship world. So that's interesting. I'm sort of describing myself as a recovering academic at the moment. What do you think of that one?
I think it's really good because if I can just be honest with you and the audience, which I always am, a lot of people just call themselves health coaches from nowhere. They just wake up one day, I'm a health coach, here I am. And if I can be extra honest, I've seen health, I'm not a health coach. I'm a master coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm healthier than most health coaches. This doesn't apply to you, but I'm healthier than most health coaches I know.
Yeah. And well, I'm actually happy to talk on that. I've got my own, health journey and whatever as well. But no, I agree. I think it's tricky because obviously, in the whole coaching world, it can vary. It's the same actually in nutrition because it's unregulated. So to be a dietitian or accredited practicing dietitian, that is, you've got a whole lot of professional accreditation and stuff you need to do around that. But the term nutritionist, just as coach, isn't really regulated. So you can have some brilliant ones who have gone to uni and are very experienced, all the way to, like you've seen with health coaches, someone who's done a 30-minute thing online, who's now got a certificate to say, woohoo. And actually, sometimes they don't even get the certificate. So, it's true. It's really, really varied. And so I guess that was part of my motivation, actually, with trying to come from the research and the evidence side of things, but actually just get it out to normal, everyday people who may not love reading the scientific papers, which I understand, but still want to have access to this information. So that was actually part of my motivation. And then I might also mention, you said about the own health journey. That was kind of part of what helped me decide, because I actually thought I'd be an academic for life. I'm professor of nutrition and dietetics. I, love it. And I thought I was on that road for life. And but the fascinating thing was, looking back, you know, as you get more and more senior, very, very bit stressful, more responsibility, but I actually was not very healthy. But if you had asked me, you know, did I value health? I would have said absolutely, because I was spending, you know, 12 hours a day teaching, helping patients, talking about nutrition and health. But ironically, and I see this with doctors and nurses all the time actually, but ironically, I was so busy, I was basically, you know, living on coffee during the day and then unwinding with alcohol at night. So I actually wasn't terribly healthy myself. So part of my journey was to sort of refocus and rediscover the importance of nutrition and fitness. And, you know, it's a journey. I'm still on that. But, you know, when you feel, and I know you've had your own sort of fitness journey, but when you just feel so much better, more energy, you know, confidence, empowered, it's kind of like, you know, I just want to spread the love, get it out there and make sure more people, you know, are looking after their health, particularly busy business owners, entrepreneurs, doctors, nurses, you know, everyone.
I was going to say, Dr. Liz, was there a moment, like a trigger moment, and I bet you there was, where you hit the wall and you said, I got to change, this is wrong? What was that moment, and can you tell us about it?
I absolutely can. And I think it was two things that happened at similar times. So one, you know, I was working my crazy hours, you know, trying to keep up with all the international trips and research presentations and all those things. So I was doing that on one hand. And then on the other hand, I actually had two friends diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
And yeah, exactly. And I they're through, which is good. But ironically, one of my areas of expertise and what I did my PhD in was nutrition to help people through their cancer treatment. So what was really interesting was I then saw the cancer journey through their eyes. And so I saw the good, and there is some really good care, but I also saw the bad and the ugly. And what frustrated me is myself and my team had done research in this area. We've published evidence-based guidelines, so we know it works. But yet I was seeing it wasn't implemented for my friends, and it drove me nuts. So I think it was that. Then realizing that research and research discoveries typically take about 15 years from when they're discovered to being adopted into practice. And I guess, you know, at my stage of life, I'm thinking, I don't want to keep waiting 15 years. Like, I'll keep the research up. I'm still associated with unis. I've got lots of students, but, you know, I want to see improvements in people in 3 months, 6 months, a year. So that I think was it. Plus, seeing the cancer journey through their eyes. And then, of course, you start, you know, thinking about your own mortality and all that sort of stuff. So I think it all happened at a little storm where I just, you know, reevaluated my life and thought, you know, I think I can make a better use of my time. So that was the moment.
And just talking to what you're saying, Dr. Liz, I love where you're going, because I suppose you're on LinkedIn, you're massive, you've got a huge platform already to create the change that you want.
Yeah. And that's really what I'm absolutely wanting to do. And as you said before, there's a lot of coaches and various other things of various qualifications and experiences. But it's interesting, it's often some of the vocal ones or have the media attention and not necessarily the ones that have the qualifications and the experience. And particularly when they're sprouting misinformation, that can get a little bit frustrating. So I guess I'm hoping to be a voice of reason and actually get it out to people that need it, like my friends, you know, with the cancer. You know, we'd done the publications, we had the guidelines, but yet they weren't getting offered that support during their treatment. And I thought, it's insane. We can do better. So that's it. I'm hoping. So that's hence Link Nutrition, is to try and help fill the gap, be a link between the good care, and there is some really good care, but there's also just great big gaping holes. So I'm trying to fill it as I can.
Oh, beautiful, Dr. Liz. And I want to ask you, how did you become such a successful influencer before we met? Because when we first met, I went to your LinkedIn and I'm like, wow, 17,000. How did you become as popular as you have already?
Oh, do you really want to know?
Tell us everything, Dr. Liz. You cannot lie to me. I'm ex-AFB. I'll see you.
Absolutely. Well, look, I will be honest, and I will say that it's really probably happened only in the past, couple of months or so. But yet I was in some ways an early adopter. So, years back, I guess when LinkedIn first started, I remember getting all these invitations to this LinkedIn thing, thinking, I don't know what it is. But after probably about the 10th invitation, I thought, oh, well, I better sign up. So I actually started pretty early on. But I must have, and so it's just sort of gathered over the years. And then I did use it a little bit now and again, particularly to catch up, if I was doing an international conference and wanted to catch up with someone locally. I found it brilliant for that. But to be honest, it's actually only been in the past few months since I've made the transition from, university life to business owner that I've really embraced LinkedIn and just seen the power of it. So basically I wasn't, I was there, but I didn't fully appreciate just how powerful it was. So now it's kind of like, woo.
What are you doing now to really take off and build yourself as an influencer and get your message out there?
Oh, good question. Well, I'm following a few people that have already made it a success, and yours truly. So I think a big one is actually taking the time to connect and chat. And, when I had my day job at the university, which actually is a day and night job, if I be honest. But anyway, but when I was doing that, I wasn't great at following up and making real connections. Whereas now I set aside time within my weekly schedule to actually catch up with people on Zoom. And it's amazing. there's so many things I love. I love the access to just some of the most amazing people. And I love the fact that, we're anywhere in the world, we can connect. So I guess the main thing is I'm engaging, I'm following up, and I'm actually devoting a bit more time to it, whereas it would have just been haphazard previously. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I got to say, I've seen your content. You do live webinars, you put out videos, you put out content. What sort of content, Liz, has really helped you take off the way you have?
That's a good question. I do think the videos seem to get quite a lot of engagement. So those are probably some of the most popular ones, I think. I still think a lot of it is just connecting and, having discussions with people and following up. And then that seems to be then what really is generating the interest. I have, been doing webinars, which I love. My next step is, of course, to do the meetup. So I haven't been utilising that yet. I'm new to that, but I can see the power of it. So that's going to be my next step. And I'm hoping that's obviously going to help me get out my message, helping to keep the world healthy and getting it out to a broader audience. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, as you know, I speak to a lot of people and I study persuasion influence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're actually, I don't know if anyone's told you this, but you're actually a master persuader. I can tell you why, if I can justify it. You're very charming, you're intelligent, you're authentic, and you're quite attractive. You're quite a beautiful lady, if you don't mind me saying.
Hey, oh, man, you can keep going, Ed. I'm loving this.
Before your husband comes to bash me up, I just want to say this. How did you become so persuasive? Like, clearly, you've had some form of persuasion training. How have you gotten there?
Ooh, good question. So I haven't actually done anything sort of specific around that. So I would say a lot of it probably is just part of the academic training where, I present my research at different conferences. I meet a lot of people, a lot of amazing people as part of that. I've been on quite a few different committees and things. So, for example, Maggie Beer, the beautiful Maggie Beer from The Cook and the Chef. She says, So I was her nutritionist and researcher for her foundation for a couple of years, which was lovely. And it was good fun. I have to say those were the best catered meetings that I ever went to. Exactly. They were fun. So I think a lot of it probably is just part of that training. I think what has been a little bit different is since really sort of reassessing my life and deciding that, rather than being the professor for life, which I thought I was going to be, that I really have this mission now of helping people make sure they get access to really, amazing evidence-based nutrition that can help them now, not in 15 years' time. And I think basically I'm just really clear on my values and my mission, and I just talk about it quite freely, Whereas I guess as a typical academic, we're not really encouraged, we're a little bit stiff and dry, and we're not really encouraged to. So I've been quite open talking about in the lead up, right before my friends got diagnosed. In hindsight, I actually think I was very stressed, and I think I probably was heading towards burnout. So that's why it all happened at the same time. So I've actually been quite open talking about that. And I think that's unusual. We're very much like, I guess, a lot of other senior people, but, we're very much, well, that's just how it is. Yes, you've got a grant proposal and you've got to teach, all the students, and this is due and this is due, and you've got to go overseas and present, but, suck it up, and that's just what we do. And I think so talking about it, that just has resonated with a lot of people. So, yeah.
And I think what makes you very persuasive is the rawness in your story. Like, you didn't open this interview saying, I'm this and I'm awesome, listen to me. You opened saying, I've got my own health journey, I've got my own problems. And I think your authenticity is such a great story. And I want to ask you this as well.
Yep.
LinkedIn, you're absolutely killing it, right? And I know you've done a lot of work with the mainstream media. They love you, right?
Yeah.
What are some of your tips to our wonderful viewers around the world to succeed with the mainstream media?
Okay. I think be very clear on your message. Perhaps learn from some of the politicians who do quite well in this. I mean, they've got their message and they say it regardless of what question they get asked. They bring it back to their message, even if it's not on topic at all.
Well, I love a certain Australian Prime Minister.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But obviously lots of great training there, and, always keeping on message. I think being, short, sharp, and stories, as they say, stories sell. So I think they love the stories. So those are probably my tips. Yeah.
Now, what I was going to say is to our viewers across the world, and just to give some context, we're doing this interview in early to mid-August 2020. Part of the world is out of lockdown. Part of the world is still in lockdown.
Yeah.
What is your advice to people who are still in lockdown, being imprisoned by their own governments? What's your advice to them to best get through this time with best health and nutrition?
Absolutely. So meaning from, as you said, from a nutrition and health point of view, not necessarily a business point of view, focus on the health. Yeah, absolutely. So I think, the thing about health and nutrition, it's simple, but it's not easy. So it's simple in that it's not actually rocket science. It's lots of, eat lots of fresh fruit, things that are in nature, lots of fruits and veggies, cut out the crap and the processed stuff, move more, manage your stress. But the problem is, and I was one of these ones, if you exercise, you got to smash it out in the gym for an hour and a half or 2 hours, or otherwise it's not worth going. So I actually had to sort of retrain my mind to look at enjoyable movement. So even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes to go for a walk, at least it's something that you enjoy doing. So I think it's building all those little healthy habits consistently, and consistency, I think, is the key. And, don't worry if you go on track, get back into it. So the analogy I quite like to use is if we think of ourselves as high performance vehicles, I like to think of myself as a Ferrari, maybe a little bit of an older version, but it's still.
No. I think I'm a Ferrari. I can imagine.
Yeah. What do you think you are, Ed?
Probably like an Abrams tank or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So then, if we think about that, the mindset is our driver. So it's a driver wanting to keep us on the road. The fuel is our nutrition. So obviously we need to fill it with optimum fuel, not the cheapy stuff. And our engine is our fitness. So I think, we need to work on all of those to really have our best health. And I think that's going with the theme of the high performance vehicle. If we get a puncture in the tire, what do? We just change the tire and get back on the road. It's not a big drama. But so often we self-sabotage and, stick holes in all the other tires and, really, whereas it's no big drama. Having an off meal or missing the gym for a couple of days, it's not really in the scheme of things going to make any difference. It's what you do the majority of the time. So I think that's the tip. Mm-hmm.
Because if I can be, and I say this about myself with shame and tragedy, to give some context to the audience, we had lockdown for about maybe 12 weeks in Sydney, in New South Wales. And I got the first 3 weeks of Corona, no gym, locked at home, I was like, it's like someone stuck an air hose in me. I just puffed up, right? It took me about 6 to 8 weeks in the gym, eat a meal or two a day to get back where I was.
Yeah.
And I suppose the shame I look at myself is, I look back at Corona, it's like, how did I let myself do that to myself? Like, how could I be such a disciplined guy who's stuff like that? And honestly felt really guilty about it. What's your advice to people like me across the world who are doing the right thing, who did the wrong thing, but still have that shame and guilt? What's your advice to those people?
Oh, I think it's part of that mindset bit, and you know, work on it. Be forgiving to yourself. Realize that it's, you know, hopefully we're on this earth for whatever, you know, quite a few decades. And what you do for a couple of weeks or a couple of months in the scheme of things, particularly from a health point of view, you know, it's what we do consistently over time. So I think the main thing is just, you know, be a bit forgiving. Look, we are in unprecedented times. We've got lots of challenges. And, you know, the whole emotional eating, emotional drinking, not being able to do the exercise. I mean, so many people are in the same boat. My advice, though, is to just, you know, that's it. It's part of this unprecedented time. But let's just get back to it and think what you can do. And we're so fortunate these days with all this amazing technology. Like, you know, it's nice. I quite like going to the gym. But, you know, I've collaborated. I've got this amazing personal trainer who's based in the US. And so we do that. You know, it's all online. I've got no excuses because, you know, in my living room and what have you. So I think, you know, we can still do stuff. And in fact, particularly for those who are in lockdown again, I think it's actually kind of nice. You know what? There's only so much Netflix you can watch. You know, break up your day. I like to do what they call snackicize, which is not just based on snacks, but it's basically breaking up your exercise into little chunks of 5 or 10 minutes. And I quite find after doing a Zoom call or writing something, going for a little walk or doing a little bit of exercise, and it does add up over the day. So I think for people who feel that they've gained the COVID kilos and are suffering a little bit, that, you know, now's the time. It's let's not let it drag on for a few more months. You know, start with those easy steps, and I provide a lot of you know, information and free resources and stuff. So I'm happy for people to check all that out. And I think the key thing is motivation and accountability. So that's why it's nice to have these sort of groups and networks, because you can then chat about these challenges and you can kind of motivate each other. And if you know you're going to meet up to do a workout or have a walk or cook something healthy, it kind of helps keeps you accountable.
Pure gold. And Dr. Liz, you said it. How can people get in contact with you and get your free resources, or even hire you or buy your program if they want? How can they?
Absolutely. I think so. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn and all the socials, so feel free to check all those out. My website is Dr. Liz Nutrition, and they can sign up for free nutrition resources and newsletters there. And at the moment, because as I said, my mission is to help people be healthy, I've got an immune health program at a very special price because I want it to be accessible to everyone. And then I also have a program called Synergy, which is, like I said, in partnership with this amazing master personal trainer who's also on LinkedIn, Rance Hayes. And so we're basically synergizing. He's bringing his fitness and mindset. I'm bringing my nutrition and mindset, and we've sort of got it also at a very affordable price. I don't like to say affordable, special price that's accessible to everyone. Yes, exactly. Basically for this, it is. It's to spread the love, particularly during this time, and that starts in a couple of weeks. So, if people need some motivation and accountability and the right sort of expert support to lose those COVID kilos, it's good timing, I think. Yeah.
And just another thing, a big shout. You know our friend Adrian Lee.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a client of Adrian's, Lee, and can I show off for a second? Can I show off to you for a second?
Yeah. What's going on?
Is that 100%?
Oh, you need to lift up a bit higher so we can see. Oh, yeah.
Is that 100% Australian beef, Liz?
solid prime muscle, we'd say. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to connecting with Adrian. Obviously, he's very busy at the moment as new dad and everything else. But yeah, he does some amazing stuff. So I think we'll also have lots of synergies and connections there. So well done. Did you know him before LinkedIn, or did you connect over LinkedIn?
Well, what the irony of it was that I only became an influencer on LinkedIn start of last year, albeit I've grown very quickly. And I was actually following Adrian Lee. So Adrian Lee was an influencer before I was, and I was actually following him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing how the journey unfolds.
Yeah, and just for the sake of our audience, you live in
I'm Gold Coast, but I have a base in Gold Coast and in Brisbane. But basically now, particularly because of COVID, but I'm loving it. I think this is going to be the way. Is pretty much everything I do is now online. So I do in person for those who really want that, but basically it's online. So it's worldwide now.
There's one thing I was going to suggest to you, Liz.
Yes.
Obviously, COVID's delayed this, but you're on my list to visit in the Gold Coast, and we should run a workshop together.
I would love that. I so would love that. And of course, we've got lots of amazing locations on the Gold Coast and in Brisbane. Yeah.
Let's go for early next year. Hopefully, I can get up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's lock it in. That would be brilliant. Would love to do so. Yeah.
Dr. Liz, big thank you. Just before you go, Dr. Liz, what I want to do is, for our friends around the world, Dr. Liz is awesome. Connect with her and follow her. Dr. Liz, I want to give you the final word. Can you close this interview with some incredible advice with health and nutrition to our beautiful friends across the world?
Absolutely. Well, I think the key thing is consistency. You need to nourish both your mind and your body. And please feel free to reach out and connect. I love to support as many people as I can. And whether it's for yourself and your loved ones, or either you'd like to partner up to help keep the world healthy, I think that would be lovely, because it needs to be a focus. I think particularly right now, we've got to keep our world healthy. Yeah.